In this video, you're going to learn how to easily make a sturdy and adjustable cardboard phone stand without using any glue. So let's get into it. If we're just meeting, my name is Eli with MakerBrain, and on this channel I love to help you with the best tips and tools for makers, as well as DIY crafting tutorial videos just like this one. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then consider subscribing. So to make this strong adjustable cardboard phone stand without glue, what you're going to need to do first is get a 5.5 by 9 piece of cardboard, and you're going to want the dirty side up. So if it's got any markings, you want that up. The clean side is going to be down, and basically we're going to need to cut out this template onto it. So the first thing we need to make sure is that the corrugation is going across the 5-inch side, not up and down the entire piece. And then we're just going to use our ruler and we're going to make a few markings. We're going to need to put a mark at 1/2 of an inch, and then 5/8 of an inch. So that's just 1/8 an inch up from our 1/2 inch marking. And then make a mark at 3 inches and make a mark at 6 inches. And this 1/8 of an inch gap between the 1/2 inch mark and the 5/8 mark is the thickness of my cardboard. So if you have really chunky cardboard, it might need to be up to 1/4 of an inch, or if you have thinner cardboard, then it's going to need to be a smaller gap, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch between these two lines. But I recommend using cardboard about 1/4 of an inch, just like this one. And we have to do the same thing on the other side. 1/2 an inch, 5/8 of an inch, 3 inches, and 6 inches. And make sure that the whole time your 1 inch starts at the very bottom. So my 0 is lined up just with the bottom. Don't line up the bottom of the ruler with the bottom, because that kind of can throw some stuff off. You want to make sure you line up the start of the measuring mark. And now we have to connect all of the markings. Now that we've got all of this set out, we're going to need to make a vertical line through this last third of the cardboard, as well as this little tiny section down here at the bottom. I am going to make mine 1.25 inches in from the edge. That is actually the thickness of my ruler, and that just makes life simpler. And you could do it whatever thickness you really think is best. You just want it to be strong enough to support this bottom piece on the phone stand. So if you leave too little here, this bottom piece is going to be really floppy down here. So 1.25 inches is a good distance. Hey, but I'm curious, how thick is your ruler? Like I said, mine's 1.25 inches. I think most are 1 inch, but drop your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm making sure that my phone stand is strong enough to support my phone. If I had like a little tiny iPhone 6, then it wouldn't need to be as chunky, but I have a very large phone, so I need a sturdy phone stand to support it. What we're gonna do now is cut out this little box that we made down here, and also cut out these sections at the back. Now we actually need to do something kind of interesting. We're going to cut through just one layer of the cardboard at each of these lines on here. And the goal is that it's going to be right on one of the corrugations, right in one of the valleys, so one of those openings. So right here, this happens to be perfectly lined up, this line with a valley in the cardboard, and that means that when we fold it, it's going to fold really nicely, because it kind of automatically already wants to fold in those valleys like that. But if it isn't lined up perfectly, it'll still turn out okay. But if you have to adjust your lines just a little so that they can get inside those valleys, then that's going to give you a little bit nicer folds. Mine both happen to line up perfectly, and we'll jump right into that. So you cut along these lines, and definitely don't cut along these down here. Leave those intact. Now we've gone through one layer of the cardboard at each of these spots, and we want to add a little bit of a crush section next to this middle fold. So I'm going to use my thumbs to crush it down, and that means we can get a little bit of a sharper fold without the other cardboard getting in the way and stopping us. So just crush it down along the edges. Now you're going to fold the entire thing into a big triangle, but this back tab right here is going to squeeze through the gap you made up at the front, and that is going to give you your adjustable cardboard phone stand with no glue, but it's still kind of weak. So if you like your cardboard creations to be strong, then smash the like button, because I'm about to show you a cool way that you can make this way more durable. What you're going to need is you're going to need to take 4 to 6 skewers, just like this, and these are little tiny metal rods that I happen to have on hand, but these could just as easily be like long toothpicks or skewers or chopsticks that are thinner than your cardboard like that. And we're going to need to stick 1 to 2 through the middle of this tab right here to give it some extra strength. I like to use just 1, and it'll go straight in through the corrugation all the way straight down back to where it is folded over. I can feel that it's reached the back because it's no longer like mildly easy to push through, and we've got some extra sticking out right there. To deal with that, I'm going to need a pair of wire cutters. I'm going to use the wire cutters to kind of mark on the piece where it is when it's all the way in, and then I'm going to pull it out just a little ways and cut it. Now I'll push it all the way back into the cardboard. Now we're going to take 2 more of these skewers, and we're going to stick them up through the sides of this front right here, because this is the part that needs to be the strongest, because it's going to be supporting most of the phone's weight on that tab, and it's already lost a lot of its strength because we cut out this channel right here, so that those are going to add more support. And if you're wondering, I'm just using a calculator because my phone is what's recording this video. And now we need to reinforce the back a little bit. And really what this is preventing is it's preventing the structure from folding. We folded it at these spots, and the rest of it is really strong, but cardboard likes to fold along these corrugations right here. So maybe if we squish it a little too much, it will fold over. I can show you right here, like maybe it gets a little pressure from the back. Boom. If you create a fold like that in your cardboard, then if you set stuff on it, it's going to want to fold right there, and that is not what we want from our cardboard structure. It's no longer strong. So it's strong until that folds in, and as soon as that folds, we lose a lot of that strength. So to prevent that, or if it has already happened and folded over like that, we're going to take the rod and jam it all the way up through there, and that goes the same with all of these. But this back one, we can take 1 or 2 up it. So I'm going to use 1 here, and then I'm going to put another rod up this edge right here, just because I have some extras. If you were just using 1, you would just put it up one of the sides, because you can't really go through the middle right here unless you want to try to find your own way to do that. But I'd recommend just going up one of the sides. And the reason I'm so careful about embedding these back in is I don't want them to like scratch my tabletop if I'm sliding it around on there. If you just have wooden ones, then they don't need to necessarily be buried so far deep into the cardboard. Now we have an adjustable phone stand here, and it's just been made stronger. There's one more thing we can improve though, but first I want to let you know that we want to make sure these cuts, this bottom one right here, as well as the 6-inch line cut, need to be very straight. You see, this bottom line isn't perfectly straight, and the top one is not perfect either, because if I line it up just so, you can see that this end is a little bit higher than this one. So when it's all folded up, it's fine when it's got a wider base, because it kind of can make up for itself, but once I squeeze it in tighter, then the wobbles become more pronounced. Now the last thing you can do to make this really durable is add a couple pieces of tape right to the inside of this channel here, so that when this goes through, it isn't going to wear out this connection. Just beware, the tape tends to make the gap a little bit smaller, especially if you use a thicker tape like electrical tape, and if it gets smaller, it just becomes harder to slide this through. And if you make the gap too big, it ends up like this one. So I made it too big, then I added the tape, and it was still too big, where it slides back and forth too easily. And then that is, it kind of is nice, but at the same time, if you try to bring it all the way in here, it just springs back out, whereas the one we just made is nice and friction fit, so if you bring it in, it'll stay there. Optionally, you could add some tape to the end of this as well, and that would keep this from fraying, as well as the bottom edges, if you want to just keep everything from sort of coming apart. But then you might worry about the tape itself starting to peel off from the corners, which wouldn't be great. If you want to learn 6 other ways to create a cardboard phone stand, then click on the video that popped up right here. But if you want to support me in the countless hours I spend prototyping and failing on ideas to create the perfect things to share with you, then consider subscribing with the big button down below and hitting the thumbs up. And it would really mean the world to me if you left an encouraging comment down below as well.